Hi everybody, and welcome to The Courageous Chick. I'm Shakia Mayer, and in this video we're going to talk about catastrophizing. Now you might be asking, what is that and why do I care? So catastrophizing is super important to be mindful of, especially during this difficult time that we all are experiencing. Catastrophizing, or magnification, happens when we make a mountain out of a molehill, when we over exaggerate the situation, or we make the situation appear to be more than what it is. Like it's so, our reactions to it are so extra, so to speak. Now, let me back up a little bit. You might be saying, well, Shakia, with everything going on, I feel like my reaction is valid because this is huge. This is huge what we're dealing with. And I do want to validate that for you. Absolutely. What we are experiencing is huge. It is something that is impacting the entire world. So I'm not going to minimize it. However, if our reactions start to become disproportionate to the individualistic situations we are experiencing, that's where we might run into some issues. Now, when we catastrophizing, again, it is making a mountain out of a molehill. So if you fail a test in school, based off of failing that test, you might say, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. I'm going to fail out of school. And if I fail out of school, I'm going to be homeless and I'm going to be a failure in life. So the thoughts tend to snowball into like the worst possible scenario. That's catastrophizing. So if we take a current example of what's going on now in the world, because again, it is something that is impacting people all over the world in very real ways. And so I want to acknowledge that. Let's say you lost your job, you got laid off. You might say, I lost my job. I don't know how I'm gonna pay my bills. I don't know if I will ever work again. Because I lost this job, I may not ever work again. That is catastrophizing. Even in this situation, that is still catastrophizing. Why is that magnifying the situation or catastrophizing? Because even though you lost your job or you got laid off right now, it doesn't mean that you will never work again. It just means in this moment you lost your job. Maybe you had a relationship that didn't work out and the person broke up with you and you're like, oh my gosh, I thought this person was the love of my life. They broke up with me. I thought they loved me. Nobody's ever gonna love me. I'm never gonna be able to find love again. I'm gonna be alone. Again, the thought snowballs into something huge and makes the situation feel so much bigger than what it actually is. So during this time of uncertainty, during this time where things are absolutely changing, and during this time when we are being impacted in ways that we didn't anticipate and ways that we don't like, it is very easy for us to catastrophize. And catastrophizing is related to anxiety, depression, PTSD. And so if we catastrophize, we might find ourselves having prolonged experiences of hopelessness and sadness. Now, if you have a prolonged experience of feeling hopeless and sad, how are you going to get out of the situation you're in? How are you going to be able to say, okay, you know what? Even though this happened, it's not the end of the world. How are you going to be able to problem solve if you're only focused, or if you're only experiencing hopelessness and sadness, if you can only see the worst case scenario? Because even though there are things happening in the world that we don't want to happen, again, very real situations, even though that's happening, there are moments that are not so sad. Those are the moments we want to look for, right? Because if we only see the worst case scenario, then it's going to be hard for us to move forward. Then we stay wrapped up in this cycle of all the bad things, all the bad things, all the bad things keep happening. And that's all we see, that's all we know, that's what we continue to manifest and create in our lives. And so all the bad things will continue to happen. And it's like, oh my gosh, again, right? If we go back to the example of you lost your job and so you feel you're never going to work again. That's not true. It might be some time before you work again, but it doesn't mean you will never work again. So this video isn't going to be long. I just wanted to make you aware, just in case you weren't aware, that this is something you might be doing, because I don't want you to stay in a place of feeling hopeless. I don't want you to stay in a place of only seeing the negative. I talked about this in the last video about shifting your perspective to help carry you through difficult times. So in a situation like this, in a time like this, we have to know how to shift our perspective so that we don't only see the worst case scenario. We don't magnify the bad things that are happening, the unfortunate things that are happening, and have that one thought snowball until it becomes this huge thought that then just like hover over us like a black cloud. We don't want that. Because again, if that is your experience, if that is how you choose to see the situation all day, every day, that's all you're going to see. So it's going to be very hard for you to climb out of the situation you might be in. Again, I know I said this, and so I might sound like a broken record. I understand that there are very real and unfortunate things that are happening. I am not unaffected by this, right? There have been things that have occurred to people who I love dearly, and unfortunate things. And yet, if I choose to see and focus only on that, I will become very angry and bitter and upset all the time and very unpleasant. And then that will be my frequency. That'll be the frequency that I'm vibrating on, and then that's what I'm going to continue to attract in my life. And because I don't want to only attract the negative things, the unfortunate things, I have to allow myself to see that there are always these dual sides, that with all the terrible things that can happen, there are also positives that can happen as well. So your mindset is going to be very important. Your perspective is going to be very important, because you have to make sure that you are not catastrophizing, that you are not staying in this hopeless or sad place. We can identify what's going on and have an emotion, because we're human, of course. And then we can start to work toward an opposite emotion. And I can talk a little bit more about that in another video. For this video, I just wanted to go over what catastrophizing was, just in case you might be doing it. I want you to be mindful of your thinking patterns, be mindful of the thoughts. And I want you to ask yourself, are you snowballing? Are your thoughts snowballing? If you did lose your job, or if you did fail a test or things like that, you know, was the next thought something worse, and then it grew from there? Because we have to learn how to pull ourselves back and into this current moment. And that's actually what I'm going to talk about in the next video. So again, this video is just so that you are aware of what it is, you notice it, and join me in the next video so that you learn how to stop doing it. And let me know in the comments if anything resonated with you. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I look forward to talking to you. Have a courageous day. Bye.